We're going to record this meeting as usual, so we can put it on the website.
Okay.
The meeting is recording. Cheryl, you can take over.
Okay. I'll call this meeting to order. It's the 1st of February, 2022. And first up is an approval of the minutes from January 4th.
Motion to approve minutes from January 4th.
Thank you.
Second. I'll second that.
Thank you, Donna. Okay. All in favor? Yes.
Aye.
All righty. Next up is the oath of office for Vince Pinoni. Wherever you are here. Oh, no, I don't see you anywhere. Oh, you're just up here somewhere. Okay, great. You administer the oath, Ed?
Well, I was seeing if Linda could do it, if she's available to talk.
Hi, Ed. I am happy to do it, but I would have to do it. I just was at the regional office, and if you don't mind putting it off for about 10 minutes, because I don't really want to hold a piece of paper and drive.
Good idea.
That's up to you. I expected to be out of the regional office in time to get home for this meeting, but I'm just running a little late. So you let me know how you want to go along with that.
Okay, we can wait till later if that's okay with Cheryl. Yeah.
It is indeed.
Okay.
We're anxious to get Vince on board before he chickens out. All right. Is it okay with you, Vince? Maybe you.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, good. All right. Do we have any audience? So we'll just delay that. Any audience comments? Did you get any, Ed?
We did not get any emails, even though we put it on the website on Friday. Nope, no comments.
Okay. All righty. All right, so we will move on to correspondence and announcements with the PACD. And I didn't really see anything that was particularly interesting for us. I didn't tag anything anyway.
No, I agree.
Yeah, okay. So we'll just accept that as it is, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, now we're going to need a motion request. We'll be able to vote on this even without Vince, right? Yes?
Yes, we have more than a.
All righty. Okay, so my motion is to, I'm waiting for.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thanks.
Second.
Who said second?
That was Wayne.
Wayne. Okay, Wayne, thank you. Alrighty, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alrighty, next.
Just for informational purposes, the money that shows 1,107,000, we don't have that much money that's ours. We have the 109,000 is the low volume road program, which is restricted account. And then we also have money that we temporarily deposited that we received for next year's allocation from CDBG that will be CDFAP, Conservation District Fund Allocation Program, that is reserved for the county. So that was, I think, close to $50,000 in that ballpark. So there's some of the money that needs to be transferred over probably at the next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking we were getting pretty high here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got temporary deposits that we hold. And the reason we do it, just so everyone's aware, is that if I didn't put it in that way, the state's on the state June to July timeframe, and we're on the calendar year. And if I didn't do that, I put it in the previous year, and then it looks like we don't have any money every other year. So, that's the way we started doing it a long time ago. And usually it works out because the state's usually slow in getting the allocations back to us, and they don't usually give it to us on January 1st. But this year we got it in December, so that's why they were deposited.
Well, how about that? Well, we look very rich on paper anyway.
Well, we do have a lot of money. I'm not getting, I get nervous when I see it that high because everybody starts to wonder why we have that much money. But I could do an accounting, but we don't have all that money. It's not all available to us, but I need to do an accounting.
People will be asking us for loans.
Exactly. Or not giving us any allocations because
Right,
we have.
exactly. Okay, there are no emergency reviews this month, so we don't have to worry about that. And there were checks to be signed, the mini grant for the Darby Creek Valley Association for their stream cleanup, yes?
Yes, we have that. That was signed by Cheryl and I, and it really didn't have to be signed because for some reason they didn't spend the full 500. They went to 498.90. So
I know, $1.10 off, whatever.
up to 500, that was good to have it signed.
Exactly. Now, next up is the National Stormwater Center Certification Training. And mostly I'd like to hear what everybody thought of this training.
Well, it hasn't come up yet. Michelle, you want to?
Oh, this is paying for it ahead of time.
Yeah, it doesn't happen until February 24th and 25th. So
Okay.
so we'll have an opinion by the March meeting.
All righty, I'll ask you again then.
Sounds
Because
good.
it does sound really exciting, interesting to me, and it's nice that everybody's hearing the same thing together. It's always a good thing also. So that's great. Okay. So next up is old business. Do I need a motion for that? No, we already passed that last time, right? The paying for the training, right?
Yep.
Okay. Old business, the COVID-19 county procedures until the end of February. Tell us all about it, Ed.
The county has elected to have staff work remotely when possible, to the greatest extent possible in February as well. I'm sort of loosening it up a little bit that I'm not going to restrict people to come in that can work remotely. If they have to come in, it's more productive sometimes to be here. But if they feel uncomfortable or can work remotely and have stuff to do, then they can still work remotely for February.
Right, so this is flexible. You're remaining flexible, which is great.
Yeah, Gina and I will both be here when we're scheduled to work, but in the office.
Okay, good. So I guess they'll revisit it next month.
Yeah, and then they will ask you for your name, and you'll say Veronica Brown, and you will be considered a.
All right. Alrighty. Next up is the new business of the Envirothon planning for a live event.
He's looking for another job. He's in the process. So you'll say your name, you'll say manager. You could also put manager.
I don't know who that is.
And then, yeah, absolutely. Get it, just get it off the plate. Because then you'll know how to do that, and then you don't have to, she doesn't have to give you a raise. And, but anyway, I'm serious.
Okay. Well,
Yes, and sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. So you'll have to.
Hello, can anybody hear me?
I'm here.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Hello.
I muted Randy and it stopped.
okay.
Yeah, Don Ho must have come in his room.
They're good, Mike. Yeah. There's a motion maker though.
Randy, can you try to unmute yourself now and see if it'll come back on for you?
How's that?
Okay. I don't know where that came from. But
Well, my phone went off. I just shut it off. So I have a ringtone, but
yeah, there could have been something interfering.
Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, he didn't. Okay, gotcha. Alrighty. And now it's back to Michelle. Are we over the technical difficulties? I don't hear anything. I can hear Randy.
Yep. I think we're good now. Linda is signing back in.
Okay, good. So maybe we'll get to actually
Yeah.
enroll Vince in this process.
And that's all squared away. I have them write it down. So this way, if Ben does it, he'll remember that that's someone we need to speak to. Just remind Ben to write it down.
Yeah, somehow it's Randy. I don't know what happens there, whether something interferes over over the ocean. Because when I turned him off, he's stuck. Okay.
Can you hear us, Randy?
Just do like sign language or something.
Good. Gonna wait until the dust settles before I bother Michelle again to tell us about this year's live Envirothon.
Oh, I don't think that's me. I think we skipped over the Smedley Park low volume road
Oh,
project.
right, I did. Sorry about that.
Oh.
I was so distracted by the strange voice from Randy, who doesn't ever talk like that.
The Smedley Park low volume road project. We have submitted it, got it approved by county council. Now we're trying to go through public works to get the bid process taken care of. And since we don't have a public works director, it's a little complicated right now, but Denise is going to try to have the county hire an engineer to help put together the final specs and to oversee the project.
What happened to the public works director?
He retired.
Oh, well. And they have to find a new one.
And then the alternate director quit. And then, so now we have a new one. She should start pretty soon.
Okay. There's somebody new, so when,
Yes, I haven't met the person yet or heard the name, but I did know that they have it listed as being filled.
excellent. So Smedley Park does seem like a good location for low volume road work, though.
Yes, and a problem that we've had down there with the park with a maintenance issue with the water quality basin they have there. So
Right.
they don't do two things at once. So that is a double success story if we can get it done.
Good. Excellent. Well, I think this is a good move. So we will address that further, right, Karen, when we actually have an engineer? Yep. Now, are you silenced too?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, once we have an engineer finalize the metrics and the measurements in the project, we should be able to work with Parks and Public Works to have them advertise it for construction. And hopefully that process won't take too long.
Right, because it has been kind of messy there.
We're trying to stay out of that part of it because we are the grantee to the county on this. It's a little weird situation. So we have to do our fiduciary responsibility to the low volume program. So we can't let them get away with anything. So we don't want to guide them in that process. So they'll be doing it on their own, hopefully, between the Parks and Public Works.
Good. This is good. However entangled it is. Okay, well, thanks. All right, now are we ready for new business?
Yes,
Now can I ask Michelle one more time?
but that would be me.
Oh, this is you? Okay, Envirothon planning for a live event. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Karen and I are trying to tag team on this a little bit. Trying to get the teams back into competition is going to be tough. Pencrest is chomping at the bit to go live, and we're going to do it. We're going to try to do it, go live this year. Hopefully the other schools will be allowed by the end of April to be out in groups in the outdoor settings without COVID restrictions. We don't know whether we're going to keep it at Ridley Creek State Park, which is probably easy to do, or move it here to Rose Street Park, which is we're trying to master. However, we just have some problems here because if we wanted to do it at, use the amphitheater, the stage evidently is plywood, and every year over the winter it buckles and stuff, and they have to fix it before you can actually use it again. So it's not really weatherproof. So we have that problem with the rain. We can use tents here, and they have the restroom facilities down there. Someday they're going to put the pavilion in when they build the playground, and that will be more suitable. So maybe in the future we'll move it here, but we'll have to see how we're going. I'd love to move it here just because coordinating with Ridley Creek State Park, it's sometimes difficult because they keep changing supervisors. So every year we're starting over again. But and it'd be nice to have it here in the office close by.
Seems like such a logical location.
Right, and it's easier to get to it. Like we could do it. The best place to do it of county facilities would be Redwood Community Center, but it's too far for most of the counties to get there. We already have a problem with Interboro coming in late because even the Ridley Creek, if they had to go down to Upland, they wouldn't be able to make it in time. So that's why we're trying to pick Rose Street Park to decentralize.
Excellent.
And Mark Manfrey did help us and tried to recommend using Smedley Park because they have an environmental center, but there's a 1-lane bridge and a very congested parking lot that wouldn't be conducive for the buses that bring the kids. So that wouldn't be an alternative. We've looked at that.
We'll keep working on it.
Yeah, we sent out letters to all the teachers. We sent out letters to all the advisors, and we heard back from just last week we sent that out, and we heard back from Mark Samalenko. That's from Pencrest so far.
Yeah, right. You'd think that since it's outdoors, there would, because it's an outdoor thing. Guess not.
Yeah, well, they tried to do the virtual event, and that would have been easy for them to do last year. But I think the teachers were just fed up with long Zoom meetings and virtual training, and and the students were too, so they didn't want to participate in that virtual event. We almost had another team, but we only had Pencrest was the only one that participated. It's hard to, once you get into it, like we lose a teacher retires, like a Haverford, we sort of lose the team. And we also had the problem where we had Glen Mills School, and we know what happened to Glen Mills, so they're out. We had Garnet Valley, which was in, and they were doing great, except they realized they couldn't beat Pencrest, so they decided they were going to concentrate on the high Q program as opposed to the Envirothon. So we have some of that problem too. When you have a dynasty like you do with Pencrest, the other teams just don't seem to want to compete against them after a while.
Right.
But
ready for a little competition, huh?
It's real stiff competition.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's just it, huh?
Yep.
Alrighty. Oh, I see what I did. I moved Karen's name above by mistake. Sorry. Okay. Well, thanks for that update. We'll see what happens. We still have until April to work this out, I guess.
Yep. We're just going to try to keep hitting them and see if we can encourage them to participate again. And hopefully school district policy will let them. They may be restricted too. I don't know enough about it.
Well, it certainly seems to work better if everybody's outside and together, but be that as it may. Alrighty, next up, financial support to the 2 annual stream cleanups. Karen.
Yeah, so we're bringing this up during this meeting because DCVA reached out to us to request support for their annual stream cleanup event. This year they're doing it a little differently. They're going to be holding several stream cleanups throughout, I think every Saturday in April. So this will allow them to cover more sites and will also allow more volunteers to come out and participate in the stream cleanups. Pick 2 or 3 events to participate in. So they were requesting support. I have not heard from CRC Watersheds Association about their event for this year. I would anticipate that they are going to have an event since it's such a huge, popular event that they hold every year. However, I do know they're having some staff turnover and changes over there, so they haven't yet announced a date that I've seen. but I would like to ask the board how and if we would like to support the watershed associations in their stream cleanup events this year. We've purchased supplies and donated them to the groups in the past. And I believe last year we issued checks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We increased it from 250 to 300
that's right.
for
Yep.
each watershed group.
Yeah, so I'll leave it up to the board to.
Okay. So, any thoughts? Steve, right?
I guess if we could just get a motion to once again support the efforts of the two watershed groups, and when we get the request in, Karen can coordinate with them to we'll send them the checks at that time.
I'll make that motion.
All right, thanks, Ray.
I'll second that.
Thank you,
Donna.
Donna.
Mhm.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it would be very strange if we didn't support them, but be that as it may. We've done it for so long.
I know it's much appreciated by both groups.
Oh, sure, I think it is. Okay, the MS4 training session for illicit discharges for county facilities managers. Oh, interesting.
I'll let you handle that, Karen, if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned last meeting that we applied for and received a grant through PACD's non-point source pollution prevention mini grant bonus round, and that funding source is coming from DEP. We are coordinating with the Center for Watershed Protection to put on a stormwater management training session for Delaware County facility managers. So that would include the facility managers from Fair Acres, from the prison, Mark from the Parks and Recreation Department. And we would also obviously invite district staff and possibly some planning staff as well. So right now we're in the process of executing the contract between us and the Center for Watershed Protection to put on that training. I went to the Redwood Center at Upland Park today to see if that would be a good venue to hold a possible in-person event if COVID allows us to do that. But if not, we can always switch to virtual. So the training would cover things like illicit discharge detection and elimination, best management practices, maintaining those best management practices on county properties, and good housekeeping to prevent non-point source pollution in our storm sewer systems. So we're hoping to have that event in April.
Okay.
It is a requirement of our MS4, the county's MS4 permit, that we coordinate for them to have one of these training once during the permit cycle. So this fits in. The other reason why it's really important for us to do it now is because almost all the facilities have new managers, and I don't think it's a great time to sort of bring everybody up to speed and and hopefully get we don't lose any ground here in our implementation.
Sounds like a good idea and good timing. If we get to do it at the right time. But this is very good. We'll get rid of those illicit discharges. We'll get rid of them. All righty. Thanks, Karen. Okay. The PHS program, vacant lot program presentation.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society did a lunchtime presentation on, they have a program in Philadelphia where they take vacant lots, clean up the trash, plant gardens sometimes, or just put lawn in, and then they have contracts with new landscape or minority landscape companies to do the maintenance on it, perpetual, I guess. And they have some very good examples of how it improves the area in the neighborhoods, and I've seen some interest in it from the county. not that PHS was going to come into the county and try to do it. We have some different obstacles than they do, in that Philadelphia is both the tax owner of some of these properties, and they also the county, so they can do things a little differently. The city of Chester has, if you look at the Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful program, where they did a survey on illegal dumps, most of the city of Philadelphia are just vacant lots that people use them to dump trash on. And there's quite a few vacant lots. And what they do is they'll go in with the redevelopment authority or the municipal public works department and take these, get approval to remove all that material, grade the lot out, put a fence around it, and usually a wooden fence. They didn't have cyclone fence or anything that was ugly. It's sort of like a yard type fencing, and then they would do it grass in it, and it just improved the neighborhood immensely. And I think Elaine was interested in it, and Elaine Schaefer was in on the call, and she had some very pointed questions on how we would do it. And she has been talking with Laura Goodrich Carnes, who is our Economic Development Council, about some of these things. When I talked to Laura, just to see what role the Conservation District could help with that type of program in the future. So Laura is going to explore that more in the future. So we might be asked to help with that. A couple demonstration lots down in the city of Chester.
That sounds like a worthy cause. I know I have seen a number of them in Philadelphia, and it really does raise community pride. You no longer feel like you're in the middle of a dump. And there's many people planting the vacant lots, which beautifies the neighborhood. It's really a wonderful idea. So I hope we're able to do it here. That would be great.
Yeah, just that the idea that we never had a program where we were required to do perpetual maintenance, especially on property we don't own. So that's the fly in the ointment. Maybe Laura could come up with something, type of economic incentive program that they have to be able to offer that type of service, at least for so many years. But yeah, if we could, and then the removal of the trash, that's going to be a big cost ticket item too. So.
Right. Well, who owns these properties generally? Is there a different landlords? Is that who it is?
I was trying. The county does not own that many properties anymore. They used to own quite a few. Yeah. The City Industrial Development Authority owns quite a bit. There are probably some speculators that buy land in bulk and then they're sitting on them, because I noticed when I reviewed plans for the prison or the casino, there was a lot of land that said owned by Industrial Development Authority, and Laura has told me that that's the city and not necessarily the county. So there are a lot of vacant properties. Some of them are just owned by people that they just haven't paid their taxes or anything. They're just vacant. So there's a whole gamut of things that could be addressed there.
There was many years ago in Philadelphia, if you were tax delinquent, they negotiated to take the land away from you in lieu of collecting the taxes. And what happened was they were a lot of the properties that were refurbished, that the city got ownership of the properties through letting them off the hook for their taxes, because they were going to come after them for the taxes, apparently. I don't think they've been very successful at getting the taxes from anyone. A good thing. Here, Linda is waiting in the lobby.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing, it's difficult to say what would be the best avenue on how to approach what lots you would target for that activity. But I think the other thing that PHS had the City of Philadelphia do is that once they did clean up the property, they actually put liens against the property through a legal process. So if these property owners now all of a sudden they got to improve property and the value increases, that when they go to sell it, they can't sell it for without paying that back.
Right. I think that's a very good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So this seems like a worthy thing to pursue. Certainly, I think they did it in the city where blocks were more populated, I think, rather than the totally devastated blocks, so that it made more of an impact with the individuals who lived there, I think.
Huh.
Anyway,
I do want to see if Linda is available to do the oath of office now.
wait, she was here for a minute.
I am, yes, and I really apologize for the delay. I wanted to get on my home computer so I could actually see people's faces. So yes, so Mr. Pinoni, so I have kind of an oath of office that I like. I think it really speaks to the district. So I guess, I mean, if we were in person, I'd ask that you just hold your right hand up like the typical oath of office scenario. And I will read this to you. And then at a certain point, about halfway through, I'll have a section where I'll ask you to repeat after me. So this first paragraph, I'll just read to you and to everybody. Pennsylvania's Constitution states that the people have a right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. With this as a charge, the duties and responsibilities entrusted to a conservation district director are important factors in our efforts to conserve and enhance the natural resources of Delaware County. If you are willing to accept and meet these duties and responsibilities on behalf of the people of Delaware County, please repeat after me. I, Vincent Pinoni, sorry, do solemnly swear to faithfully discharge the duties of a director of the Delaware County Conservation District
the duties of a director of the Delaware County Conservation District
through faithful attendance at and participation in district meetings and in the programs and activities of the district. Thank you. By the authority invested in me as a representative of the PA State Conservation Commission, I do hereby declare Vincent Pinoni to be a director of the Delaware County Conservation District. And thank you for your volunteer service.
Thank you.
Yep. And I will
Welcome
be in
on board.
contact. Yes, I'll be in
Thank you,
contact
everyone.
with you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
I'll send you some materials, Mr. Pinoni, that can help you with some orientation. Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Linda, for getting Vince on board. Since
Absolutely.
It's been hanging out there. So this is good. And welcome, Vince. Okay. So next up is bank signature card revisions.
Yes, I in order, since we've made some changes where Frank has to come off and Randy's going to be added and Ray's moved up, we have to get new signature cards and they have to have everybody. So and by everybody, I mean in our financial policy, what we do is we have the treasurer, the secretary, the vice chairman, and the chairman and myself as signatories on the bank account. So we all have to do that signing. Cheryl and I have already signed it. I've asked Gina to reach out to Randy and to Ray to get new signature cards filled out. And there's quite a few things. We have 6 accounts and the statement. So there's a lot of signatures to be signed on these cards. And so, Randy, you're going to be back. You can unmute yourself to answer when you're going to be back in the States here.
15th of February.
And I did fill out that information to the bank that you sent me. So that was already filled out.
Oh, no, the financial interest statement? Yeah, that comes to me.
No, it was my personal information for the bank. You had somebody from the bank that I had to send information to.
Oh, okay, I got you. Now he made the cards up, and now we gotta get them signed. I got you.
Got it.
Yep.
All right, as soon as I get back, let me know where I have to go to sign them.
Okay.
Very good. And then Ray too, so
Yeah,
Gene will reach out to Ray as well.
yeah, okay. I can, yeah, I should be able to get in this week sometime, or
You have to write your name many times, many
Okay.
times.
it's a long one.
Okay, so that's good. We have that under control there. All righty. Next up, report from cooperating agencies. Is Beth still here? I see her. Oh, she's been muted. Oh, there she is.
There she is.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, goody. Yeah, somehow or another you had a mute next to you. We want to hear from you, not. Okay. Do you have anything to report, Miss?
We don't have a lot of activity. We're still taking applications for our programs, and we're going through the first round of applications now. And our office was at 25%, and now today we got notification we can move up to 50%, which is just office folks in the office. People are still working and are still available to come out to farms and help with whatever's needed. So I think that's really it, unless anybody has any questions or any needs that they're aware of.
Yeah, it's good to know that they're available all the time now. That's excellent.
I guess the question I had, Beth, is are you going to be able to have somebody represent you at the marathon?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's one good thing for the environment. Nailed down somebody from Beth's office. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we hear from Linda again. Thanks so much, Beth. Linda now?
Hi. Yes, just in addition to my report, but of course, as always, if there are any questions on my report, because I know that they've been quite comprehensive lately, but in addition to my report, I'll just say that the compliance specialist position for the Southeast Regional Office has been posted. So Frank DeFrancesco, his position was approved and it's now posted. It's just a long, arduous process getting it actually posted. And that that posting runs until the 9th of February, at which point interviews will happen. And I don't know how long after that it will be before somebody's actually sitting in the seat, but if it's somebody that does not come with a lot of programmatic experience, it will take a while to get them up and running, but it's looking good on the horizon. And Bob Page is Desiree's new replacement. He's the chief of the operations section in 102, 105. And he is working very hard to get his feet under him and learn the program. He did come from within DEP as a chief, so he does understand some of the legalities in terms of working through violations or compliance concerns, and he understands DEP. So that's a step, a big hurdle in itself. So but it's a hard job. So it will take us for him to feel like he's not swimming, not to the surface. So, but both Bob and Krista Brown, who is now in central office, but doing work with the districts in terms of some compliance, at least in the interim, but also following through programmatically at the central office level. But currently, with no compliance specialist, she is working with the districts to try to lend a little hand. So that's forthcoming. Both Bob and Krista have had recently have had calls with all the districts in the Southeast. So, just to kind of let the districts know where each of them stand respectively, so that the districts can kind of understand what assistance is on the table for them at the time and moving forward. So it's looking good, you guys. It's looking good. It's been a bit of a time crunch, but it's looking better.
Okay, good. Moving in the right
Other
direction,
than that,
right?
yes, absolutely. And just let me know if you have any questions on my report. Otherwise, I'll mute myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. It was nice to hear from you. Because that's what we
Thank you
do.
so much.
Just hear from everybody. Okay. All right. Next up is Ed's report.
Thank you, Cheryl. We have a copy of my report that was in the documents. I'll go over a few items. One was the issue of the TV mounting to the wall, which it didn't hold up there, and it almost came down, and we were able to get it down without it breaking. They came back to look at it, and they chiseled a hole in the wall to see if they could mount it, and for some reason there's a very crumbly surface underneath the plaster that they were afraid that they couldn't mount the TV to it. I think they just didn't want to drill deep enough, but that's another matter. So that has been postponed action, and they're going to provide a floor mounted system. So it's going to be mounted to a stand that goes to the floor and put on the system, and hopefully patch the hole in the wall that's out there.
Who was trying to hang it up?
The county building and maintenance.
Usually you kind of look for studs or something to lock into.
Well, I don't think there's studs, because I think this addition, the meeting room addition, was added onto the side of the building next to the fireplace. So I think they built it right onto the stone wall. So if they dug past the stucco, they would probably get to the stone wall and it would be okay. But I'm not going to question it.
They probably already made enough of a mess and figured it.
Yeah, I think the stand will work, and they'll give us some flexibility. We should be able to move it. Although it is very heavy, and I don't want to move it around too much. But the stand that goes to the floor, they said they use it in their courtrooms and things, and they've had success with it. So I think it'll be fine.
Okay. Well, good. At least we can look forward to having it, right?
Yes. Then my next item was the assistant solicitor for the county. It was asked for assistance on the easement that he was working on. I don't know I don't want to get into the details of what it was for, but I spent the day reviewing it, trying to get some of the documents. They're trying to buy a conservation easement on a property to meet some overall arching county goal. And I don't know how far it's gone out to the public yet. But I spent some time with him, and he was appreciative of the input. The other thing that I'd like to mention is that we did participate in a webinar with the Army Corps of Engineers was the lead on a prior converted cropland webinar. And boy, was that very complicated to follow, with the history that goes back and forth, and it involves two federal agencies, the NRCS and the Army Corps. And the only reason that we started to have this issue is that there has been a prior converted crop. A prior converted cropland issuance that was issued for a property called the Shops of Ridge Road in Concord Township. And we're now in the compliance activity. The permit is on hold until we can get to the bottom of it. So it was an interesting meeting, and we're going to be meeting with the property owner in the very near future, because fortunately Carol is one of our compliance people for the 105 program, and she's still there, and she's had some very good ideas, and I had some comments with her. So I think that after quite an extensive maybe a year and a half, 2 years here now, working on it, that we may be going to move forward with the compliance.
Excellent. Alrighty, any questions, anybody? Ed's report? All right. Next up, thanks, Ed. Next up is Michelle. Where's
Okay.
Michelle?
Yeah, I
There's-
just wanted to highlight that I think most of us have completed the PAGO1 training modules on the DEP Clean Water Academy. So that's going to be rolling out or going live in a month from now, on March 1st. So that would be a new permitting option for applicants. So there's some similarities to PAGO2, but there's also some differences. So it'll be a little bit of a learning curve for all of us, and even from the timing and the way and how it comes in the door. So be having a training session, a Q&A next week with DEP. So by our next meeting on March 1st, we might have a little more information, but to see how it's going, it'll probably be at least a few more months. And that's the main thing I wanted to highlight. Just had a few complaints this month. I know it's been cold, but the few times we did have some rain events, you know, we were getting calls. So things aren't slowing down in that regard. And that's all I have to highlight, unless anybody has questions.
What are they doing at the West Wayne Preserve? What did they finally decide that they're doing there?
They are doing, I think, 2 or at least 1 stormwater basin, and putting in, also doing wetlands as well. If correct me if I'm wrong, Ed. It's been a long time I've looked at the project. But I don't, and maybe a trail around part of it, but no actual structures from what I can remember.
There was a little bit of restoration work, and where there was some stockpiled material there that had some contamination, and they're going to be removing that stockpiled material as well. And that's where the wetland comes in, because it's going to be restoring some wetland areas where
Right.
that stockpile was placed.
I guess they're going to take out a lot of the trees there for these basins, right?
I'm not sure how many they're removing.
I'm not sure either, but it seemed to me at first they had this plan where they were just going to get rid of the trees and put in these basins, and everybody complained about it. So I wondered what they ended up with in the end, because I haven't stayed on top of it. So thanks for filling me in on what's going on now. Thanks. All righty. Next up is Connor. Thanks so much, Joe.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
kind of the same thing, just working on the PAGO1 training, a lot of that, the Clean Water Academy courses. It was kind of a slow month between vacation and also just the holidays, but also a lot of work from home due to the county requirements. Yeah, just like a lot of office work. Mostly, you can see I didn't really have that many site inspections. But yeah, I would say the big thing was just kind of focusing on the PAGO1 training, like Michelle had gone over. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, how smooth that will go.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Connor. That was nice and succinct. That's good. Okay, Ari, you're up now.
Ari, you're muted.
You're muted, Ari.
Sorry. So I had kind of the same month, a lot of office work, but office work at home. I did have 2 projects start between the Villanova Sierra expansion and then the Pulaski School demolition. That one's going to be a restoration project out in Chester City. So that's going to be interesting to see how this, dilapidated school building is going to turn into a grass field at some point. So it's definitely different from what I've seen in the last year, almost year of me being here. So,
is there any plan to replant it in any way, or?
yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, there are plans to develop it. I don't know much more than that, but the city engineer did say that somebody's already eyeing up the plot, so it's not going to stay grass forever.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
I hope they leave at least some green there that's more absorbent than grass anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Anything else you want to tell us about?
Nothing to highlight, just looking forward to seeing how PAGO1 rolls out and working out those kinks. So if there's any questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you, Ari.
Mhm.
Next up, Karen.
Yeah, so I wanted to share two interesting site meetings that I attended this month. The first was at the Lower Swedish Cabin in Upper Darby Township along Darby Creek, across from Gillespie Park. They're experiencing some stream bank erosion, and obviously they're worried about it getting closer and closer to this historic structure. So they're very interested in installing one of our practices, the Christmas tree project that we installed at Glen Providence Park. So they are actually one of many groups that have contacted us about that project. So this week, I'll be taking those attendees from that meeting down to Glen Providence Park with Norm from our Parks Department to go through how we installed that project, as well as why we installed that project, and how it might fit at their location along the banks of the Swedish Cabin. So that was one site meeting that I went to, and then I attended another one with a whole bunch of different organizations. There was someone from DEP, from DCNR, from the Planning Department, and then the Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative at a cemetery in Collingdale Borough. They're experiencing some major flooding due to an old pipe that goes underneath the cemetery. It looks like it may have been buried, so a stream is now bypassing this pipe and flooding the cemetery and causing some major erosion along there. So we had a lot of good input from all these people about how we could solve this problem, and we're in discussions now about grant programs that might be a good fit for this historic cemetery to try to help these folks out. So that was really interesting to see. I've never been to a site visit at a cemetery before, but it was definitely interesting, and it's a very unique problem, and it's a bit of a challenge to identify a funding source that would be a good fit for that site. So it was good that there were so many different organizations there showing concern and looking into it for these people. And then the only other thing on my staff report, I guess I already talked about, was the MS4 facility managers training and the low volume road project at Smedley Park. I spent a lot of my time working on both of those.
Okay. There are a lot of cemeteries in Delaware County.
Yeah.
It seems like all of one part of Philadelphia buried everybody in Delaware County or something.
I know. There's certainly a lot, and I'm sure a lot of them have similar issues.
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah, but there's the first one that I've been to. So
this one's really old too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when I did Green Again many years ago, I sent a friend out to like check out sites or whatever, and she said, "There are so many cemeteries in Delaware County. Is this where people go to die?"
You might think so with all the cemeteries.
Right, exactly. I think it's just where they buried them. But this is a really good project, and the thought of a floating cemetery is really bizarre to me. So this is very good.
Yep.
So thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else?
No, that's all I wanted to highlight unless anyone has any questions.
Excellent. Alrighty. And that brings us to the end of our meeting, I say. So I will.
Motion to adjourn.
I don't even have to ask you, Randy. You're excellent.
Motion to go back to the beach, please.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we can do that. And torment
second
all of
that.
us.
It sounds like, yeah.
And who seconded? Ray?
I'll second it.
Alrighty. All right. All in favor, I'm sure.
All right.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye. Have a good time in
Have a great
Hawaii.
rest of the week.
Wish I were with
Yeah.
you.
It's over. See.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
So long.
Thanks for coming.